Valve's out of ideas, Newton is saying. Yeah, I don't think it is so much that Valve is out of ideas. I think it's that they can't focus on an idea for too long, you know. They were like, VR is the next big thing, and then they developed the Valve Index and Half-Life Alyx, and suddenly they are not dealing with VR anymore, at least from what I've heard. I think the Half-Life Alyx workshop didn't get many updates to it to make it more usable, and I missed that medic there. The Valve Index isn't restocked, I imagine, and it did not get a new revision. And you know, now the next big thing is portable PC gaming, you know, with the Steam Deck. So they have plenty of ideas, it's just that they do something with an idea and they call it done and they move on to the next idea. That's how they operate. You know, it has its benefits because it keeps things fresh for them, I imagine. But for consumers it's not very good because we don't get actual support for their products. So that's kinda bad, you know. Alright fellas, want to change map. Let's go, let's see where we are going now. But they have plenty of ideas for sure. It's just that they don't stick to the same idea for too long. That's what I mean to say. And Bankrupt is saying there, "Hey old school, I am currently making my first ever thumbnail. Why are there so many render problems?" What are you using to render, Bankrupt? Are you using Source Filmmaker? If that's the software you are using, Source Filmmaker is quite buggy actually. I think it was never released out of beta, I think it's still beta software. So it's very buggy actually, and those rendering issues aren't uncommon. What I usually do to try and minimize those and make my thumbnails is I'll actually use a map that's called Color Void. You can find it on the workshop. It's a void that you can color any color you want. And what I do is I color it green, so I can key out that color on GIMP when I go to compose the thumbnail. And because on the map I have only the model I'm posing and nothing else, Source Filmmaker usually doesn't crash like that. I think it becomes more of an issue when you are trying to use the real maps the game has, you know, the TF2 maps in Source Filmmaker, because there's more, you know, points of failure in those maps when using Source Filmmaker for things to bug out and crash. But if you use an empty map with just the color you want to key out, and then you switch that color with a map background you got, for example, on Google Images, or just a solid color for the thumbnail, if you are not talking about any specific map, then it usually goes well. So look for that map in the Source Filmmaker workshop. It's called Color Void. Very useful actually. And then if you want, you can render out just the backgrounds on a map. So you go on a map you want and you render out the background you want for your thumbnail. Composing thumbnails like that usually is a better idea in terms of making sure Source Filmmaker doesn't crash on you, because that's actually very common for that software to crash. Okay, let's try to get... No, I will not be able to get that medic. Let's run away, otherwise I'll be killed here. This engineer is very brave. You see Salgado, as usual, very brave with his engineer plays there. And Bankrupt saying, Source Filmmaker is so cursed software, how come Valve is managing to deal with it? they aren't, Bankrupt. Valve isn't dealing with Source Filmmaker, they don't use it anymore. There's even an updated version, yeah, I think it's Source Filmmaker, that they use for the Dota animations, I think it is. That's based on Source 2, you know, I poor Pyro. I don't know if they are using it. I think they develop it for Half-Life Alyx, the Source Filmmaker. And they probably use it to make the Dota 2 animations nowadays. Because Dota 2 is on Source 2 already. And the CSGO animations, I think, weren't even made on Source Filmmaker. I think they were... another animation studio was hired to make those, you know, for the latest CSGO update. So yeah, Valve isn't managing Source Filmmaker. They are doing nothing with it. They simply abandoned it. It's become abandonware, basically. You know, perhaps they should, for example, release the source code to it. Really make it abandonware. Like, okay, we're not gonna develop this anymore, so have the source code here. Feel free to fork it and make a custom version of it and fix the bugs. I imagine some good people in the community would try to do that. Or port some Source 2 features to the regular Source Filmmaker. That could be also a good thing. The moment just lied it down the floor here. Ragdolls are so fun. I really like them.